Hey guys, Scott here from RV Travelling Husbands. Something new for us today. I'm having a go at making a face-to-face video. It's going to be a brief video going through everything that we discovered whilst we're making the decision to buy the Windsor Daintree RV. So hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and let's get into it. All right, when you say you want a motorhome, it brings up many images and thoughts and personal opinions as to what you want to call your home on wheels. Here in Australia, our grades or classes of motorhomes are varied, but they're very similar to the USA and the Europe. And then today there's also the term RV, and that encompasses caravans and pop tops and fifth wheelers and motorhomes. So today I'm just concentrating on our choice and how we got there. But first of all, I'll give you a brief class rundown of the motorhomes, things that are around the category we were looking at. First of all, there's the Big Daddy, which is the Class A. Now, it's typically has an engine in the rear and it pushes it along with a custom body, looking like a huge bus or a coach. Then there's the B and C classes. Both of these are built on van cab chassis with purpose-built bodies over the top, like Mercedes Sprinters, Fiat Ducatos, Ivecos, Ford Transits. They can be front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive with dual wheels. And the deciding difference between them is that the Class B has a more streamlined or lower loot and peak, and that's for storage only, while the Class C has a more pronounced loot and peak, and that's usually designed for sleeping in. Then comes van conversions. Now, typically in Australia, we call them camper vans, and as the name suggests, it fits everything inside the existing van body, like a Mercedes Sprinter, Volkswagen T6 or Caravelle, or a Toyota Hiace. And then last of all, deciding all over all of these would be the type of license you need for these vehicles. They can fall into a car license, which means you can carry up to 12 adults and under 4.5 tons. Or then between 4.5 tons and 8 tons, still carrying 12 adults, there's the light rigid license. Now, I know that that's very brief, but now that's out of the way, let's touch on our thoughts. Right, our thoughts were based on our budget. We had a set budget. It needed to be under 7 meters. It needed to be under 4.5 tons. We wanted to use that car license. We didn't have to want to go to a light rigid license. And then we also desired a full bed, a full bathroom. We didn't want to have a compromised shower over a toilet, so we wanted a full separate shower and a toilet. And we didn't want to have to play Tetris each night to go to bed or to make a meal, so that required a permanent bed and a permanent meals area. Now, there's plenty of used motorhomes out there with dodgy wood paneling, weird floral upholstery, and we started by concentrating on vehicles 10 years old or younger with the least amount of kilometres that was within our budget. We found the majority was still over 100,000 kilometres, and you needed on average 70 to 80,000 Australian dollars. Here's one example that fitted our criteria I just found yesterday. After some research and discussion, we refined our requirements, and we later added that we only wanted it to sleep to. We wanted a cassette toilet. We didn't want to have to deal with any black water piping or tanks, and we also wanted the bed closer to the cab rather than right next to the bathroom. We then discovered some brand new models had been released and fitted our criteria. So after we discussed the pros and the cons of new versus used, we decided to concentrate on new only. Okay guys, starting at the top, the most expensive that we were considering was the Sunliner Pinto. It's the 412 Black Edition, nice rig, 165,000 Australian dollars. Then the 412 Regular Edition, just a few cosmetic differences between the two, was 155,000 Australian dollars. They both have the bed near the bathroom. Compared to the Daintree, they have less storage and a smaller kitchen. And then there was the 411, which was closer still because it was on the Renault Master base. It was 139,000. Similar layout, but also had a small kitchen. We're talking like one cupboard, and then some storage. Here's some photos. Then guys, there was the Ovation by Ovation. Now, it had a rather weird shaped bed at the rear. It was permanent, but it had an angle cut off the edge, so it allowed access to the bathroom. It had a small L-shaped kitchen, and it had some really dated looking wooden paneling, and they wanted $143,000 for that. Then we also considered the Ovation. Now, it has an electric bed coming from the ceiling, but it is at the rear and it blocks the bathroom, and it also had a small kitchen, and that was $134,000. So we did some more research, we drilled down some websites, we read some reviews, and we watched some YouTube vlogs, and then of course I made an Excel spreadsheet. So our top two, they came down to the Jayco Conquest RM 20.5, and then there's also the Windsor Daintree. Now they're both the same chassis, the Renault Master 2.3 110 Pro, and then they're the same layout within a couple of grand of each other. The Jayco Conquest, at the time that we made our purchase, the Jayco Conquest RM 20.5 was 107,000 Australian dollars drive away, and the Windsor Daintree had recently had a price bump after its introduction, and it became 110,990. So here's some specs. Then lastly, we went and visited the dealers, Jayco being first up. We confirmed that we love the size and the layout of the vehicle. It had nice light colours, and although in wood grains, we love the position and the size of the bathroom, the size of the shower, and the fact that it had a glass door, and we opened and closed everything that we could. But we did learn of a quality issue which actually still plagues the 2020 model, and that is off the roof under the electrically raising bed, there's two decorative panels. Now they're joined, for want of a better word, by a piece of self-adhesive tape, which was already peeling off the one in the yard. And we knew that we also didn't like the position of the two burner stove being on the side, and all round the windows were generally smaller. And the fact that the bed in the Jayco did not lower completely, and it required a ladder to climb into it. So then we went and looked over the Windsor Daintree. It may not be everybody's ideal, but we love the modern colours. We love the gloss finishes, the light flooring, the LED cabinetry lighting, and its bigger windows. It just feels bigger. And then we started to compare. The bathroom gets a solid sliding door rather than the concertina door. The shower has LED illumination running its entire height, which just looks wow. And then it does lose out slightly for nooks and crannies and for some storage in the bathroom. But the kitchen is longer, it has more bench space, it gets a 4-burner stove with a grill, and it has a bigger fridge too. The bed lowers right down to on top of the dinette, and the Luton Peak is more accessible whether the bed's up or down. Plus there's plenty of USB scattered around. Okay guys, I must apologise. This is my first video of this style, and I have had to keep checking my notes, so I have been looking down, but I'm working on it. As you can understand, there's quite a bit of notes when it comes to specification and prices. Let's hope that I just do it justice. So let's get back into it. Now, the Windsor compared to the Jayco when it comes to that lovely seam on the decorative panels of the roof under the bed. Now, in the Windsor, there is no decorative panels to hide those belts, so there is no seam. So there's nothing to compare in that particular space. But further along in the vehicle, if there was ever any seam, it was covered by a metal piece, which just offered that better perception of quality. Now with the Windsors, there might not be the breadth of dealers like there is the Jaycos within Australia, but Windsors here in Australia are built by Apollo Motorhomes up in Queensland, and they've got years of experience in building for the hire market and for the sister brand Winnebago. So for us, at the end of the day, there was a combination of sense of quality, the modern feel, the size, the specification, and the general look of the Daintree that just won us over. An honourable mention goes to the Winnebago Cotslow. It's recently come to our attention. It's 132,000 Australian dollars, but it's the closest thing to the Daintree. The actual motorhome component is nearly identical. It's just built on the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter rear-wheel drive chassis. But at the end of the day, we can't wait. So bring on August delivery, I say, and see you out on the road. Cheers. So guys, summing up our top reasons for choosing the Windsor Daintree over the Jayco Conquest. There's the quality of the vehicle, the overall presentation with its colour palette, gloss surfaces and faux granite benchtop. The electrically raised and lowered bed doesn't require a ladder when lowered to its lowest position. There's a bigger kitchen area including the bench space, the storage and the 4-burner stove and oven compared to the 2-burner in the Jayco. Then down the back, there's the solid sliding door compared to the concertina door. There's bigger fresh and grey water tanks. There's a larger fridge, built-in internal window blinds instead of hanging curtains, and then there's the included external shower. Now these are our main reasons, but this sums up why we chose the Windsor. Our final two motorhomes were the Jayco Conquest and the Windsor Daintree. Here's a photographic comparison between the two. This is the Jayco kitchen versus the Windsor kitchen. The 2-burner stove in the Jayco versus the 4-burner with oven. The entrance and fridge area, which has more storage in the Windsor, as you can see here with the drawers. Here's the Luton Peak with the bed raised in both the Windsor and the Jayco. As you can see, the Luton Peak is hindered in the Jayco, but it's wide open in the Windsor. Here's the bathrooms. They're very similar, layout is similar, but the Windsor Daintree won our heart. Here's some specs.